is generally destructive, not just in terms of human suffering, but also for the environment. In the case of Japan in World War II, formerly lush hillsides were massively cleared as Japan withdrew from global commodity transactions and imposed self-sufficiency. Parasitical and bacterial infections rose from sewage-tainted water supplies because scarcity resulted in unhygienic crop fertilization practices. Food became so scarce that Japan's songbird population disappeared down the throats of its starving citizens. However, as William Tsutsui argues, war can also be beneficial to the natural non-human world. During wartime, fish populations rebound as ships and people turn their attention away from catching fish. Whale populations similarly rebound. However, all of these effects, destructive and beneficial, appear to be transitory. In the final summation Tsutsui uses, it is probably war's effects on humans and their subsequent perception of their environments that will have more lasting impacts on landscapes and environmental records than the actual bombings themselves. In this spirit, it's interesting to look at the urban forests of two Japanese cities. Before World War II, Tokyo was crowded, polluted, and generally inhospitable to nature. Parks were few and green space minimal. During the war, it was heavily firebombed. Afterwards, redevelopment essentially returned the city to its pre-war conditions. Streets didn't widen to accommodate traffic or allow for new street tree planting. Plans for new parks were put on hold or reduced in scope. It wouldn't be until preparation for the 1964 Olympic Games that Tokyo focused on restoring its urban forests. Hiroshima, on the other hand, took a different path. The atomic bomb appears to have destroyed more trees than the firebombing of Tokyo. Instead of just trying to return the city to its pre-war state, redevelopment also displayed the commitment to reconstructing the green spaces. The war-damaged reconstruction plan of 1946 had plans for 35 parks. Trees play the prominent part of the imagination of a rebuilt Hiroshima as seen in proposals for the Peace Center, as well as request tree donation and tree offering campaigns. There is also a conservation program for trees that survived the atomic bomb. How can we read these two different ways of approaching the same task of rebuilding a city destroyed by war? Perhaps by noting the difference in the way these cities were destroyed. While firebombing was a new war technique, Tokyo was no stranger to devastating fires. They had recently experienced one with the Great Kanto earthquake and fire of 1923. However, the way in which an atomic bomb utterly flattens a city and burns its victims in such a short amount of time had never been experienced before Hiroshima. The people of Hiroshima's experience as first required a different type of response than Tokyo's. And perhaps it's not a coincidence that trees, which they knew had survived the blast, figure so prominently in their vision of the future, as a symbol of survival, endurance, and life in the imagination of their reconstruction.